My BF of 3 years moved into my home 3 weeks ago after his lease went up and he was unable to renew with the price hike they expected. His rent was $1,600 for a 2-bedroom, and upon signing a new lease they said it was now $2,400. I have a 3-bedroom home and 1 son, 11. Both his room and my room have an attached bathroom. The guest room does not. We have lived here for 5 years and I bought it last year. My BF has a 19-year-old daughter named Jess who visits him on the weekends and lives at home with her mother. Literally never had any issues with her up until my BF moved in. When he moved in, Jess started becoming this idiot snob who had demand after demand that she fully expected me to meet. Like she wanted me to kick my son out of his room so she could have the room with an attached bathroom, stating that a boy didn't need a bathroom as much as a girl did. When I said absolutely not, she got extremely rude and condescending whenever she was in my home. She also tried parenting my son on more than one occasion, telling him what he can and cannot watch on the TV, what he can and cannot snack on, etc. There have been times when he has tried talking to us and Jess will butt in and say something about how kids are so freaking annoying. If I speak up to her, she says I don't believe I was talking to you or roll her eyes at me. Bold for someone who does not pay any rent or food costs to be staying in my home. I told her father last week that either he gets a handle on his adult kid or she was getting booted to the curb. He immediately starts telling me I need to give her time because this is an adjustment for her and that apparently she is having a hard time at her mom's house due to them arguing all the time. I told him that wasn't my problem and that in my house me and my son were not going to be treated like crap because she can't control her emotions and wants to take her resentment out on us. He said he would talk with her. His talk did nothing at all. In fact, she confronted me about it and said I don't know what game you're playing here, but respect is earned, not given, and I will not be granting you respect until you prove to me you deserve it. She then walks to the living room where my son was watching TV and takes the remote from him and tells him to move. At this point I go in and immediately tell her to get out of my house. She tells me she isn't going anywhere because her dad lives here, so I end up calling her uncle, who is a police officer, and have her escorted from my house after she collected all her belongings. My BF says I crossed a line, so I told him he can leave too. He currently isn't speaking to me, locked away in my bedroom. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot at all. What the actual heck? Keep on sticking up for your boy and don't let an ounce of that brat get to you. You went the nice route. You went to your BF and spoke about her, giving him the chance to sort it out. She's an adult. She can sit the heck down or get the heck out and stay with her mother. This isn't a child throwing a tantrum. This is a full-blown young adult. BF can either deal with it since it's your house, or also get the heck out. The audacity of that witch. Not the idiot. You set perfectly reasonable expectations for her behavior. She acted like an absolute brat, so you followed through. She may be going through a difficult time, but that doesn't give her an excuse, especially at 19, to be disrespectful and rude. You can tell her that respect must be mutually given to be deserved. She didn't respect you, so you have nothing to prove to her. Not the idiot. Funny how your BF didn't follow her out the door when challenged. I'd give him about another 20 minutes to change his tune and he'd be gone too. You did him a huge favor by letting him move into your home and needed to step up in dealing with his daughter. I don't blame you one bit for not allowing her to terrorize you or your son in your own home. The BF needs to either get out or deal with it. I, 36, got married 12 years and my wife and I had a daughter, Rebecca 10. My sister, Lindsay, never really liked my wife and I had to put some strong boundaries in place. It was not a good time and Lindsay really hated my wife more since she said I was choose my wife over family. Well, 2 months ago my wife's father got really sick and after a long talk we decided that she will go take care of him until he passes away. That's the last of her family. We thought he would move in with us but he wanted to go at his home. So my wife packed her stuff and fly across the country to him and is his full-time caretaker. He probably has a month or 2 more. When Lindsay heard about this, she made a comment at dinner when Rebecca was at the table that my wife has abandoned her. This was the last straw and I went no contact with her. Rebecca really loves her aunt though and it's been hard. Rebecca wants to hang out with her aunt and I have refused to let her. I work from home and yesterday around lunchtime I can't find her. There is a note in her room saying she went to have lunch with Lindsay. I was furious and tracked Rebecca's phone, the first time that has ever happened, and they were at restaurant. I get there as fast as possible and grabbed my kid. I told Lindsay she will never see my daughter again. This started an argument and I literally walked out halfway though. Rebecca the whole time was crying and I asked for her phone. She gave it and I deleted her aunt's contact information and told her you will never be talking to her again as long as you are a minor. She was crying even more. I told my wife and she thinks I did the right thing and has been on the phone with Rebecca a lot since it happened. I have been fending off calls from all my family calling me a jerk. I need an honest option since Rebecca and my family sure think I am awful. Not the idiot. Your sister took a 10-year-old out of her home without informing either parent. She planned it in advance and likely asked your daughter to keep it a secret from you. And people are calling you a jerk. What if you didn't find the note? How many times could this have happened before? In the future. Definitely not the idiot. And shame on anyone who tells you otherwise. You are not the idiot. As a parent myself, I totally back your call to keep Lindsay out of your daughter's life. Obviously when she is 18 she can forge a relationship with her aunt if she chooses to. But for now, it is yours and your wife's job to protect Rebecca and that is exactly what you are doing. Telling Lindsay that her mother had abandoned her was reprehensible, and Lindsay knew that Rebecca was not allowed to see her, yet she lured your daughter into an unapproved lunch. Clearly Lindsay has no intention of honoring your parental decisions, and really she is probably delighting in sticking it to your wife. I would tell your family that unless Lindsay can show respect to you and your wife, she is banned from Rebecca and the same goes for them. In your situation, I would have done the exact same thing. Not the idiot. Your sister told your daughter her mother abandoned her, and removed her from the home without parental permission. Tell anyone who calls you a jerk that Lindsay is lucky you didn't call the police. You also need to sit down with your daughter and explain why what her aunt did was so wrong, so she understands why she won't be seeing her anymore. Reiterate what your wife is doing and how caring and selfless it is. And personally, I'd file for a protection order. Update. So it has been like 2 weeks since all this happened. So after this whole mess, me and my daughter traveled to where my wife is and her dad. We are all going to stay there until her dad passes away and I have a feeling it will be soon. He is not doing well. Rebecca is still kinda upset that she won't see her aunt again, but having her mom around really helps. My wife and I discussed it for a long time and we decided to make a paper trail about what happened. So all that happened it now on record. My family kept blowing my phone up for a bit until I told them she is lucky I didn't call the cops. They got quiet for a bit and according to my cameras, showed up at my place. It took them a while to figure out we left to be with my wife. Now Lindsay, yesterday it must have sunk in that I wasn't joking and she called so many times and I gave in to see what she had to say. It was a long apology on her end and asked if she can see Rebecca. I told her no, that she needs to stay away and she crossed a huge boundary. She asked if she could talk to my wife. I put her on speaker. Lindsay then apologized to my wife about what she did. My wife was quite brutal and basically said if she really meant it then stay away from them. At the moment, Lindsay won't be seeing my daughter again for a bit. If she does stay away then maybe she will see us at Thanksgiving and Christmas. If she doesn't behave then probably won't see my kid until she is 18. Make sure you explain to Rebecca why you don't want aunt around her. For example, she took her without permission which scared you in a major way, breaking your trust, and was saying bad things about mum that weren't true just to upset her and make her upset with mum. She may not understand the full scale of the kidnapping now, but in 10 years, she is going to look back and be horrified that you had to be patient and understanding for her missing someone that literally kidnapped her after telling her that her mum abandoned her. She took your daughter without your permission and helped plan her leaving. Your daughter had a phone and rather than text you, wrote a note. You should never have adults around who ask your child to lie and keep secrets. I'm so disappointed and angry at your family for trying to justify this behavior and blame you. If Lindsay is that hard up to hang out with your daughter, she can go have her own children to spoil. I hope the child-friendly way got the point across of how dangerous and unacceptable this was. Not all children are allotted the luxury of child-friendly lessons. I, 18, live with my mom, 42, in a tiny flat in the city. Recently my uncle, 38, and his wife, 29, have had a baby, and they chose to stay with us whilst they get used to the whole parent thing. To be honest, the whole situation has confused me from the beginning. My aunt and uncle live in Scotland in a huge house, and instead of getting help from my aunt's family who actually live there, they've decided to drive down to England to stay in a pokey flat with me and my mum. We didn't ask questions, though, and just welcomed them with open arms, because that's what families do. Anyway, as some of you may know, right now in the UK, there's a big heat wave hitting us. It's more limited to England, I think, but recently it's been about 29 degrees, 84, but temps are set to hit 40 degrees, 104, which is the hottest it's ever been over here. Our homes are not equipped for heat waves, they're actually designed to insulate instead of keep cool, so we're all panicking about how hot it's going to get in the flat. My mum and I thought that my aunt and uncle would go back up to Scotland where it's cooler, but they were insistent on staying with us. So last week, we bought an air conditioning unit and some fans to keep us going. However, as of late, my aunt keeps stealing all our fans and the AC for her and the baby. It's too hot, we need them. The rest of us are literally baking, including her own husband who has asthma and suffers in extreme heat, but she doesn't seem to care or even understand that. We were trying to be accommodating at first, but now it's actually getting beyond ridiculous. She won't even let us use the things that we bought in our own home, which I find really selfish and unfair. It kind of came to a boiling point, no pun intended, this morning when she decided to take the one-hand fan that I had in my room and put it in the baby's cot because the baby was crying and the AC unit and the 2 fans weren't enough. I tried telling her that maybe the baby was actually too cold or maybe just hungry, and that led to an argument where she accused me of questioning her parenting, etc. I didn't engage, just told her that I don't care how she parents her child as long as she doesn't steal from me, took my fan back, and didn't say another word to her. Am I the idiot for getting pissy? I get that she's a first-time parent and she's worried about her baby, but I don't know. I just don't think it justified taking my stuff. Babies don't need AC and multiple fans in their room. They can't regulate their temps as well as adults, so they get cold easier, and they don't sweat like adults, so they get hot faster. Honestly, coming from someone who lives in those temps several months of the year, you need to put the AC in the most commonly used room. Shut the door to the kitchen to keep cooking heat out of the rest of the house. If you have a door on your kitchen, which seems wild to me, but videos on TikTok has me believing kitchen doors are common there. Put a fan at the door of each bedroom to draw the cooler air into the bedrooms. Not the idiot, this heat wave is super dangerous and everyone needs to stay cool and hydrated. No doubt she needs to look after the baby, but it's dangerous for the rest of the family too. Maybe you can all be in the same area as possible in order to collectively keep cool. I don't know how much the cooling unit are helping. You may be right that the baby is uncomfortable because it is too cold. Maybe you can have a room thermometer of some sort so it will ease her mind that the baby is safe. Not sure on this one. Newborns can't regulate their temperature and can quite easily and very quickly start seizing if overheating. It's much easier for us adults to find ways to stay cool than it is for babies. So for me, I'm on the baby side. That said, at the same time, your aunt could just go home. I don't think it's much cooler in Scotland right now though. And buying a fan or aircon is impossible at the moment, so that's not an option either. I went on a trip with some friends recently and each of us took turns cooking on various days. One of the days, my friend made everyone garlic steak and potato wedges. Just normal cheap cuts from the store, nothing fancy. Normally, when I go to a steakhouse, I prefer to order my steak medium, as I get grossed out by too much redness. But when I eat when a non-professional chef is cooking, I order my steak medium well because I find that most non-pro chefs tend to undercook it compared to what you order. So if I ordered a medium, a non-chef would cook me a rare. And if I order a medium well, then I receive a medium like I want. So that's exactly what I told my friend, that I'd like a medium well. Of course he gives me the spiel that steak lovers do when they tell you that steak is meant to be eaten raw and bloody and anything else is a sin. I roll my eyes and don't engage in that conversation because it's pointless. Long story short, my steak comes and it's definitely medium rare, if not straight up rare. It was way too red for me to be able to power through eating to not cause a scene. So I asked him to throw mine back on the stove for a couple minutes and he refused to do so, telling me he cooked it like it should be eaten. I suppose I could have cooked it further myself, but I was tired of the situation and seeing the red made me lose my appetite for steak. So I gave mine to my BF and made myself a sandwich and chips. The friend called me an idiot in front of everyone because I refused to eat his food. Most others were on my side because I didn't get it like how I ordered, but a couple were on his side and said I should have powered through and raw steak isn't that bad anyway. Not the idiot. I'm one of those still mooing people, but I'm never going to even jokingly attempt to force someone to eat something that literally kicks them out. Your friend was being way too pushy, and the steak was still consumed. It's not like you threw it away or something. He should have graciously thrown it back on for you for another minute. Cooking is about serving people something they will love, not about forcing everyone to choke things down the way you like them. Not the idiot. I'm exactly the same, to be honest. I'm also one of those that if I find gristle on meat or bones in fish I can no longer eat them, so I 100% understand where you're coming from. The fact that he botched and moaned and told you how you should like it makes me want to ram it so far up his butt he chokes on it, to be honest. I detest people like that. Hope you enjoyed your sandwich though. I am the same. Like my steaks and burgers medium, but you have to often order them medium well at restaurants to get them medium. I understand logically that even rare is cooked. For me, it's a taste and texture thing for rare or medium rare that makes me gag and nauseous. Those cooking for others should respect their tastes and needs. They should have taken the opportunity to cook it longer for you as soon as you saw it was no to your liking.